Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratan Karunamayam Namami Chinmayan Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vitvaram Sadgurum Brahma Vitvaram Samacharan Saroja Sandra Neelambudabham Jagharanihitapanim Mandanam Mandananam Taruna Tulasi Kandharam Kanjanetram Sadayadhavalahasam Vitthalan Chintayami Vitthalan Chintayami. 339. The man who has faith in the devotion to God finds that the provisions of the law of karma become his slaves. The Lord of the world himself becomes very happy by the purity of his faith. 340. Actually, if any action remains to be performed because a devotee is fully busy in his devotion, the Supreme Person is more pleased. It is a delusion of foolish people to believe that the loving devotees of God are also affected by karma. 341. If at all an error is committed by the devotee, miraculously the Lord himself becomes manifest as that mistake. 342. Ajamila was actually destined to suffer the effects of his bad karma, and the messengers of the god of death had come to take him to Yama's region, but only by the power of the sacred name of Narayana, which he uttered, the Lord met him and saved him. The 343, the devotee employs the Swadharma and Karma as the bearers of his palanquin and sleeps in it, which is of devotion. So if he falls down, who will be punished? Swadharma and Karma that carry his palanquin get the punishment. 344. Thus, by the power of God's devotion, these can be punished. The framework of Varna and Ashrama, status in society and status in life according to stage, can be broken and the bondage of karma can be burnt totally. 345. In short, Swadharma and Karma are poor servants of the devotees who follow the Bhagavata way of life. They cannot stand before the devotees. How can they affect them at all? 346. O King, I will tell you the secret way of devotion. This knowledge is related to the details of various codes of conduct and explains how action is offered to God.
Kayena vacha manasendriyairbha buddhyatmana vanusruta svabhavat karoti yadyat sakalam parasmai narayanayeti samarpayetat.
Meaning of the verse: by his body, speech, mind, organs, or by intellect, or even by his own self, whatever the devotee does according to his essential nature may be offered to that Narayana completely. Three, four, seven, one's own instinct, all should be offered and surrendered to God. This is the Bhagavata way of life. 348. Just as there are many waves on water which are very fast, but wherever they go, it is all water only. Similarly, all action of the devotee is immediately merged into God. 349. In this verse, priority is to be given to action by mind, to be offered to God. Then comes by sequence the actions done by organs, then intellect, then ego, etc. And last is action done by physical body. 350. The characteristic of Bhagavata way of life is that all action done by the mind, the intellect, consciousness, and ego, etc., is to be offered to God. Please listen to how this is done. 351. O King, please listen. I will tell you how the devotee is not affected by his own natural actions. The Supreme Person, the Lord Himself, becomes manifest in the mind of the devotee because of his limitless self knowledge. 350. By this, all his thoughts, his intentions, and doubts, etc., become one with the Lord. The devotees thus remain innocent. They become truthful in their intentions, just as the Lord is truth itself. 353. Just as in the game of chess, the king, the minister, the camel, the horse are all made of wood only. Similarly, all the thoughts in the mind of a devotee are God only. 354. About whatever object he thinks by his mind, the Paramatman becomes that object itself. Thus, his devotion very easily reaches higher and higher states of ecstasy. 355. Then his devotion occupies his waking state, his dream, and sleep also. And self-knowledge being imbibed in his psyche, he has continuous recollectedness about the Lord. 356. When the mind attains the state of contentment, devotion deepens. And as attention is fully joined to God, the trinity of the meditator, the meditation, and the object of meditation all become one in the ecstasy of devotion. 357. While there is separate existence to the states of 1, fourth aspect of attention, 2, the witnessing aspect, and 3, the state of consciousness, which is beyond mind, called Turiya, Sakshini, and Unmani, the devotees turn them in towards the devotion to God only. 358. Thus, without willing or intending to have faith, effortlessly, deep faith comes into being. Faith becomes identified with God. Then, willful offering is no longer any extraordinary thing. It is very simple surrendering without any effort. 359. In his case, dream has no place. It is false because he is experiencing his true self. The waking state is peeled and knowledge has emerged, and the satisfaction in the sleeping state is culled and collected together, well placed at the feet of the Lord. 360. So that in this way, mind surrenders itself. Only the devotees endowed with divine wisdom can understand this state. 361. Know that thus all the functions of the mind are surrendered easily to the self, the Atman. Now, listen to the way in which the organs of sense and action, the organs of senses and action are surrendered to God. 362. When a lamp is lit in a house, its light spreads outside also through the windows. Similarly, when God is manifest in the mind, it is also evident in the functions of organs through their devotional activities. 363. I will tell you in detail the functions of organs which are of their own accord offered to God. 364. When the vision looks at any visible object, it sees God in that object. Thus, in the way of devotion, the vision together with the seen object is surrendered to God. 365. When all the three, the observer, the act of observation, and the things observed are conceived as one unity, the vision is automatically sublimated into Brahman. In this way, the devotee surrenders the vision to God. 366. The power which manifests the object of observation as the object of eyesight becomes the power which acts like the power of seeing in the eyesight. This is the non-separateness which the devotee applies himself to God through his vision. 367. When one conceives that there are the 367. When one conceives that there are the three aspects in one thing, and there is one truth, one thing in all the three aspects, it is a beautiful way of seeing, and this is the offering with the limbs and the organs. 368. Our eyes see many new objects at all times, but the devotees see everything as Atman only, and thus they enjoy the auspicious festival of offering the faculty of sight to God. 369. Thus they surrender to Brahman only, the quality of seeing which is inherent in the eyes. Now, O king, please know from me how they offer the faculty of hearing to Brahman. 370. He who directs a speech to utter the word, the sound, has himself become the listener in the ears, and he is also one who knows the meaning of the words. This becomes the act of offering to Brahman the faculty of hearing. 371. As soon as the word is uttered and it becomes articulate, the director of speech becomes present prior to the word and after the word. Thus, that devotion by spoken word becomes our offering very naturally. And this is the way, sorry. And this is the way in which hearing is also surrendered to Brahman. 372. When the word is uttered, immediately the meaning becomes manifest. And one who utters the word appreciates the sweetness of the meaning, and in the very hearing of the word or the sound, there is great interest in the devotion to God. 373. As soon as the ear listens to the word, the meaning of the word creates devotion to God, and thus the listening faculty becomes identified with the God who's the creator of the world. 374. One who directs a speech is God, and when the unity with God is firm, the devotion of the God is the subject of hearing, and thus it is surrendered to Brahman. 375. When the word of Sadguru is heard, the mind with its qualities merges into itself and is sublimated. Thus the hearing becomes surrendered to Brahman, and thus by devotion the faculty of hearing becomes worth its name. 376. When the hearing hears itself, it becomes identified with Brahman. This is unintentional devotion. 377. Now about nose. When the God is pleased by the devotion, he becomes the fragrance of the essence, and the great God thus receives the smell through the nose, which is the act of unity with Brahman. 378. It is God who gives to the flower its flowerness, and it is he who becomes the nose, which smells the fragrance. Thus, God takes up all the fragrance, which is the devotion of faculty of smelling. 379. When the tongue is eager to take the taste of anything, the God himself becomes the taste as well as the enjoyer of the taste. Thus, automatically the tongue, with its faculty of the Lord Krishna. 380. A source of great joy. 384. Thus the tongue, through its indulgence in the taste, becomes an offering to the Lord. Now, O king, I will tell you how the sense of touch becomes an offering to Brahman. Please listen. 385. When we try to touch something by our hand or any part of the body, then Paramatman beyond the body becomes manifest in the body, and whatever we touch, that itself becomes an offering to Brahman. 386. If the skin wishes to touch anything, there is no separate object which can be touched. There is only Lord Shri Krishna in that touch. Thus, that touch becomes the offering to the Lord. 387. Whatever article we try to hold, it becomes the God Almighty, and by this source of devotion, the real goal of self-realization becomes an actual thing in the case of the devotee. 388. When the hand tries to give something to God, see how devotion takes place while hand gives anything to God. The giver, the receiver, and the thing to be given become one unit and not three aspects, and that Trinity becomes God only. 389. If we walk by our feet, the path itself becomes God, and the walking is as if offered to God. 390. The God who directs the feet to walk is himself the power of the earth to hold. And if we walk with this understanding, the act of walking becomes an offering to God. 391. The word, the utterance of the word, and one who makes us stop are all together in the mouth. When the word sees the God there, it becomes shy. When that shyness is overcome, then only the words become articulate. Therefore, in the talk only, the devotion to God takes place. 392. The word becomes absorbed in the wordless. It is that wordless which is expressed by the word. Know that this is the act of surrendering together with the one who surrenders. 393. When we believe that within the speech resides the God who directs the utterance of speech, then the words become already offered while they are uttered. Thus, the devotion to God is done by the faculty of speech. 394. He who is firm in his devotion through his body, mind, and speech is using his pride of his firmness, his determination to be offered to God in a kind of devotion. 395. The wave which is in the sea says the cloud which gives satisfaction, coolness, and nutrition to the world is actually born out of me. 396. By my power, only the grains are ripe. By my power only the grains are ripe. By my power only rivers are flowing and reaching the seas, becoming one with it. 397. Similarly, the devotee of God becomes complete in himself, and with the pride of his completeness starts his devotion. Please listen to the sign of that devotion. 398. The devotee says, I am the creator of all the three worlds. Though I act, I am not the actor or doer. All the pleasures are enjoyed by me, but I am always the non-enjoyer. That I am. 399. In all the worlds, there is my power, which is active. I am the controller of everything. I am the giver of light and making everything manifest. I am the governor of all. 400. I am alone and only one in all the beings. I am the occupier and the occupied. I am that which is created and I am the creator. I am one who, without modifying his oneness or disturbing it, becomes the world. 401. I am the original God of all the gods. I am the Godhood in the gods. I am that which is not destroyed or born among all the things which are born and are subject to destruction. I am the non-corroded in all, which is corrosive. All the power, 402, all the powers which are evident in the God Almighty are my powers. It is all my strength, and the Godhood of the God is because of me only. 403, I am the liquidity in the water. I am the father of Prakriti and Purusha. The original wish of creation is mine, but really speaking, I am having no desires or doubts at all. 404, I am the cause without origin for all the creation. I am the essential trance of the trance. The purity of Atman is because of my purity. It is in this way that pride is surrendered to God and becomes one with him. 405, thus again, he says, I am without birth, but still I take birth. Though I am a non-doer, I perform actions. The Supreme Person has got his supremacy because of me. 406, he says, by Sat I am known, by Chit I am denoted, and the Sat, Chit, Anand are united in me, which is blotless Anand or bliss which I am. 407, because of me, the sun has got his power of seeing. He says, I'm having the space in me, which space occupies the mind as well as the universe. The dweller in the universe, the God happily resides in the universe because of my prayer. 408, I'm having no birth, and the Maya is famous for its lack of beginning because of me. I am the seed of the seedless. It is from my own reality that the Atman becomes manifest and dances. 409, in me is the base. I am the God of the Lord of the world. I am the higher person to the supreme person, and I am the God surpassing the highest God. 410, false things become real by my power. The inner things get life because of me. The self joy gets its joy because of me.
Hari
411, I am the
Hari Hari
Hari.
Excellent, lovely readings. And he's made it so simple. But how every act we can offer. And leading back to Bhagavad Gita, Rasoham Apsukam Teya. So again, Gita is joined in focus. Awesome. Anybody has any thoughts to share?
Yeah, I think it sort of, we have similar verses in chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita when he says, Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam. I mean, then he's the sapidity in the water. And so the same tone, is being followed here.
Yes.
That what we, yeah.
A little bit of Vibhuti Yoga also.
Yes, Vibhuti Yoga also has come.
And yes, it was something like Drishya Viveka also, Varshaji.
Correct.
About
Yes,
which
who is the seer
yes,
and yes.
seeing the
Total
object.
Vedanta.
It's loaded.
Loaded. Vedanta loaded.
Yeah. I think all scriptures are put in.
Brahmarasa, the joy in Brahma, the 383 was so
Yeah.
nice.
Everything is Brahman, everything.
Yes.
We stopped at 400.
410.
Okay, because tomorrow I'll be reading, so I just make a note.
Yes. Don't know what to say. It's just beautiful, like that only the words. It's like awe. Yeah, so nice, like that. Great. Any more thoughts to share?
Every act, I mean, this makes you think when you do every act.
Yes.
With our sense organs.
And today morning's class, Anandaji's Kaivalya Upanishad, this is what was being discussed after the class.
Oh, wow.
They had a 50-minute discussion today.
My goodness. Wow. Oh, wow.
Shiji, can you please expand the verse 367?
Yes. When one conceives that there are three aspects in one thing and there is one truth, one thing in all the three aspects, it is a beautiful way of seeing. And this is the offering with the limbs and the organs. So this three aspects is that Triputi, the one who is doing the action that is being done, and with what it is being done. So all the three things that we are using in action is when a person is able to see the three things not as different, but one and the same. So then that action is offered it's taken as an offering. Wow. So that was no. So you just go little, you just go little higher. Correct. See how it is given for the eye, the observer, okay, and the act of observing, and the thing that is observed. So for any action, these three things are involved. So the Vedantic term for this is Triputi. To seeing oneness through that Prakriti, where everything is eventually melted. And this will eventually lead at the time of that meditation also. The meditation, the meditator, and the object on that is being meditated. Everything turns out to be one. There's no differentiation there.
To see that, we have to develop that oneness.
See, right now I feel I am the doer, okay? And I'm doing whatever some action, means the act of doing. And with what I am doing. So there are aspects into it where when I'm not realized, I see that different. This is mine. This is I. This is me. I am there. And that is somewhere else, God. And on that, now I am meditating. So I've made a God as my object. And I have chosen I am the doer of the action. And the act of meditation is happening. And then eventually, the differentiation, the distance between these three things narrows. And to the point where I am meditating, where I had started to that distant God, now that God is here close, and then it is not something else, it's in me. And I was trying to meditate, that action also goes. So there is not the action, not the object on what it was, and not the doer of the action also, where it all melts. That's the level of oneness. Did it clear, Nikhil?
Yes, yes.
Anybody
Thank you.
has to add a point on this? Beautiful, you have picked a point to discuss. Even the next sentence, no, I see many new objects at all times, but the devotees see everything as the Atman only, and that they start enjoying that as a state. So then that what is seen is not as something separate. Self is only seen in all. Amazing. Beautiful.
Beautiful. I don't know how to achieve that, or how a person can go to that level.
Journey. Hold on to one thought and expand. So, Swami Abhedananji, 2 years ago, I think, was taking this mantra meditation. So that time he had used a thing. Your Ishta Devata and your mantra should be the same.
Okay.
Like for me, I find my japa with the Ramji very nice to do a japa, but Ishta Devata is Krishna. So he had mentioned that if we want to achieve something by japa, by our meditation, then it should direct in one way. It can't be several things. So if by all means, undoubtedly, your Ishta Devata is Krishna, then your japa mantra also should be Krishna. And that action that we do and we talk about, we see about, and everything on Krishna and that form, and then that distance would start narrowing down. We can't have scattered everything, our hands and fingers put into all. It can't be like that. If we are seriously trying to seek something. So that time his mantra meditation was excellent. I think 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, it was very good.
But
During
Krishna
COVID
and
time.
Rama are forms of that Lord Vishnu. So
No,
I-
so right now I'm not seeing the oneness, right? The one is like this with the Krishna and one like this with the bow is the Rama. For me, the form. So that's why on what form we are meditating, that form's mantra would lead us to that right. Eventually, we have to go to oneness only. But at the moment, I don't have that. At the moment, I see my multiplicity only, right? So till when we are having that multiple vision, plural vision, that we will have to go in that direction first, and then we will narrow down. Then it doesn't matter whether it's Ram or Shiva or whether it is even Devi. Then afterwards it will not matter. Now it will matter.
So when there is plurality, it matters. When we see that oneness,
Yes. So we are seekers right now. So then we will have to go in one direction. So our mantra, our meditation, our Ishta Devata, on that only everything should happen. And then the seat that we sit on, the time that we sit on, then he started saying that as well. That should be exclusive. That should be exclusive. So everything has to be like exclusive and concentrate. Then it will lead to something. First for a newcomer, everything would be scattered. Okay, today it's with her, tomorrow it's with them, in one satsang with a meet, on a kitty party, whatever, everything will happen initially, fine. Somewhere to hold on, go if that is helping. But then later, it should be your private affair, like that he had said. And then it should come exclusive. Okay. And it will happen. It happens. Okay, shall we conclude? Yeah, over to you,
The
Reema.
difficulty is to see oneness in the transactional world.
Yes.
You can think of one God but then in this world, today he was saying the two things that you have to remember. I keep saying that the world is mithya. World is mithya. You have to keep telling yourself that. And then say, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. Those two statements will give you some amount of oneness. And that he was mentioning today.
But I
Two things.
remember Swami Shukdevanand over here. He said, व्यवहारिक को परमार्थ से mix नहीं करना है. Not to mix vyavahara and par. At vyavahara level, you have to snap at somebody and you have to do that and do your job. So holding on I am running an ashram, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to scold. At Vyavahara has to be dealt, and in that don't bring Paramarthata. That he had said. Swami Shukdevanand says that. Very nice, no? Then it makes job easy. So then our job becomes like be on the dharmic path, don't leave the dharma, let the actions be all offered to the God. And then to where we have to stand stern, if it is of dharma calling, we have to hold on to the dharma. Then if we have to say no, we have to say no. So that made a lot of clarity then. When we mix Paramarthata, then we become on a back foot into the Vyavahara. Then that wouldn't be nice. Vyavahara will have to hold certain strictness and deal with stern people sternly only. Otherwise, why Bhagavad Gita would be revealed. It is all with the family only, right? Then okay, uncle is taking, that's fine, which eventually he said Kulakshaya and Kula and Strishu Dushta and what all he said. No, Dharma. So Dharma has to be held up. Okay, we will lead to closing prayers.
Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishnarpanamastu.